Peace within me. Peace surrounding me. Peace from me. By thy grace, let there be peace. As we enter our time of meditation, centered in peace, let any places where your body may be holding tension to soften and settle in. Feel yourself supported. Noticing how the back of your body touches where you sit. Sense your feet resting on the floor beneath you. And let your hands rest comfortably by your side or in your lap. You may want to close your eyes or simply let your gaze soften and drop, or focus on the light of the candle in the front of the room. Notice the sensation of your breath in and out. As we enter the quiet, I invite you to bring to your mind a place in nature that feels sacred to you, even if it's simply a glimpse out your own window or a tree in your backyard. Might be a place of memory or even of imagination. A place where the sacred of the earth speaks to you. I breathe in, and I am rooted. I breathe out and lift my face to the sun, to the sky. Breath in, my roots grow deep. Breath out, my being expands. Rooted, open. Rhythm of breath ebbs and flows. Breath in, breath out. Like the waves that hit the shore. Breath flows in. Peace flows in. Breath flows out. Peace flows out. Peace. Peace. Rooted in peace, flowing in peace. Taking a deeper breath in. Sighing out your exhale. Come back gently to this room or the room that you're in. Gratefully bringing with you the gifts found in shared quiet and stillness. Slancha. Thank you. I snuck in a few slides this morning. This is prosperity, this is abundance, this is gratitude, this is sacred. I was supposed to go to Ireland in June of 2020 with my mom and dad, and then hop across the channel to Scotland for a week with my brother and his wife and her family. And of course, June of 2020 was part of that decade-long year that shifted so many things for so many people. And how fortunate my family was that one of the only things that shifted was a trip. And my dad is close to 87 and my mom just turned 82. And even though I didn't think the timing felt all that convenient to leave here again, in the blessing of sacred time, it was perfect timing. So this was the place that my brother found us, a home by the sea for a week, where we rested, where we settled into the rhythms of listening to the waves, looking at the waves when they were cloudy, with the sea and the sky looking to be the same shade of gray as all of the hair on our heads. It was a very gray-haired trip, except for my beautiful 25-year-old niece who joined us. So as I mentioned, there were 2 books that I brought with me. I brought Sacred Earth, Sacred Soul by John Philip Newell, who writes about Celtic spirituality, and one of the gifts of being there was really feeling the sacred ancientness of stone walls that grow up out of the sea. From the distance there, you can see that there's farmland. We had happy cows living next door to us. It's not built up like a Disneyland, Disney World of ocean. It's where people have eked out. There are those places. There are lively places in Ireland too, but we happened to be for a week in a quiet place, off the beaten path. And so this connection of Celtic wisdom, to feel that part of my mom's heritage, that the reason I'm named Mary Brigid is partly in honor of her great-grandmother, Brigid Mahoney, who came from County Cork. And so that emphasis of oneness, that all of the nature that we see, all of the stones hold sacredness. Here is a little bit from John Philip Newell, talking about the Celtic spiritual tradition as one that has long emphasized an awareness of the sacred essence of all things. Sounds a lot like unity. This tradition is in fact part of our Western Christian inheritance, although it has been largely forgotten and at times suppressed. It is a way of seeing, a path of awareness that can be traced through the centuries, forever unfolding, evolving, emerging again and again. Here's from John's Gospel. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Everything has come into being through the Word. Everything is essentially an utterance of the divine, a sacred sounding, each creature and life form unique and unrepeatable as an expression of the One. In Celtic wisdom, we remember the earth as sacred. Every tree, bush, every flower and creature, every hill and mountain is on fire with the divine. The life within all life is holy. What we do to the body of the earth is what we do to God. Celtic wisdom remembers the sacredness and wisdom of the feminine. Deep within us and deep within the matter of the universe is a conjoining of masculine and feminine energy. It was a gift to be able to read those words and feel that power. It was a privilege. It was a privilege that my brother found the place for us to live, as a gift to me, as a gift to my mom and dad, as a gift to himself. To soak in words that we say, all is one. There is no separation. I say those with you, and I had this deep gift of being able to feel it in my cells, but also to feel this ancient wisdom that's in my DNA. It was a wild and wondrous thing to sit and rest by those waves and to know that my ancestors came from that rocky shore. And to know that not all of us know where our ancestors came from. We're not all blessed with that ability to go back to that homeland, that motherland. So to hold that in my heart and to bring you there with me for a few minutes with the pictures. On the wall, on a piece of art in the house that we stayed in, looking out on that, is the next slide. There was a piece of art on the wall that helped me feel that connection between the natural world and our place in it, and how we have a duty to the land that nurtures us, wherever that land is. Looking out the window here, if you're home looking out the window at the trees in your own backyard, how does that land, this nature, this earth, speak to us with reverence and invite us to nurture it as it nurtures us? So on this pen and ink drawing on one of the walls, I tried to take a picture of that too, but the glare on the glass covering it, I also would have loved to have just rolled it up and put it in my suitcase. It was a very simple pen and ink drawing of hills. It was a couple of pieces of paper kind of stitched together with these words written in a beautiful hand across it. So I did write down, because I had to take the words with me, even if I couldn't take the artwork off the wall and tuck it in my suitcase. So as you think about these, as you hear these words, think about a place that you find sacred, a place that feels like home, your own home here, a place that was important to you growing up, a place that you have visited that is where your ancestors are from. But I invite you into these words. What was it you were thinking as you walked up the track, drinking in the sun's heat, breathing the clear blue air, feeling the tranquility of the morning upon your soft skin, the palpable and overwhelming, inescapable and pervading history that resounds in every rock and stone, lichen gray boulder, each one deliberately placed to form a wall, a small dwelling, a boundary, a beehive cairn, chambered tomb and souterrain, each purposefully placed stone representing energy spent, effort, man-hours, labor, concentrated labor. Not only a love of land, but a sense of duty to this land, this harsh, uncompromising land, this rough, barely fertile, marginal hill pasture where generations toiled to reap subsistence. Look, and you cannot fail to hear in the sigh and howl of the wind the pain and suffering. But don't be too blinded. By each sweat-stained rock there was joy and happiness too. This south-facing tussocky slope catches the sun's heat and summer's healing. The implacable sea. This phrase keeps echoing this morning. Today the sea is benign, soft sea green. It is murmuring in the breeze, which is out of the north. Chilly, but the sun's heat soothes away the faint reminder of winter. It is as though the storm of the past 2 days, and all previous storms, and all storms to come, have hurled boulders willy-nilly in a frenzy of heavy rain against the side of the hill for us to order and assemble to build with. we can't help in our complete humanity to try and make something of the earth where we are, to build something lasting. Even though we recognize that all of our human building, even those ancient stone walls, that is a stone path from the hillside where that farm was next door to where we stayed, down to the sea, so that the farm could also be fed with kelp for the cows, sailing out into those rocky waters to fish. Those stones will eventually erode, but that ancient, timeless oneness with the earth, with the sea, with the sky, with the Creator, that divine creative energy holds us, pushes us, gently lets us rest. Go ahead. So, Prosperity Now, the other book. Heather, you actually reminded me that this trip was a way to say yes to love. She also reminded me a couple of weeks ago to let the good girl in my head just be quiet for a little while and know that I would never be sorry that I had this time with my family, with my mom and dad. And she was correct. And the interesting thing about chapter 2 that I missed the other night because I could not keep my eyes awake in Irish time at midnight to join the Zoom. I had to listen to saying yes that night meant saying yes to sleep so that we could have another adventure. But part of saying yes was that look on my mom's face. That little beach behind us, when we first got there to Inchidooney, and my mom the whole time, we heard some of the same stories, Mom, over and over. But we heard those stories that she grew up hearing about her great-grandmother who came from this shore, and the grandmother that she knows about, and the grandmother that she doesn't know about. And so to feel that sense of place and that sense of home in that way for her was so powerful. But there were a lot of stairs from the parking lot by Inchidooney Beach down to the water. And so she sat up at the top on a picnic table with my dad, who for sure was not about to tackle those stairs. And as we were leaving, Mike and I drove down. This is my brother Mike. He's a mensch. As we drove away, we saw another spot where there was more of a path that you could walk down that was gentler than the stairs. And my mom said, "Oh no, I don't want to keep everybody. You've already had your walk. I'm fine." I said, "Mom, let's go." So Mike parked. He and Dad sat up at that picnic table, and Mom and I walked down to the beach. Saying yes to love was guiding my mom down to the water that she loves so much and watching the joy on her face. I didn't put in the pictures of our feet in the water. We did put our feet in the water. I didn't actually put in the 300 or so pictures that we have, and with eight Beckmans on the trip, a lot of them were multiples. But the look of joy on her face, and that look, even without the photos, I will hold that gift. So that abundance, that saying yes, I think of the words that I wrote in my vow. I will say yes, and yes, and yes to love. I will be love's hands and heart and voice at work in the world, and I will do all the good that I can do. That was my vow. But sometimes I forget that saying yes to love also is easy. It's not just the hard moments where we need some tenacity to show up and say yes. I just had forgotten that saying yes could mean looking at the joy beaming out of my mom's face. So it was a gift to have this book with me and to feel my own vision and mission. I didn't have, once it occurred to me that that's what it was when I wrote those vows. So John, Frederick, you're on your way across the sea again, but thank you for that. Saying yes to abundance, knowing that not everybody gets to travel. Not everybody gets to experience what that is in a gracious way, to come home to a place where my family left generations before. Some people were pulled from their homes unwillingly to come to this soil. Tomorrow is Columbus Day or Indigenous Peoples Day. We have our own fractured sense of, we don't have stone walls that are hundreds of years old because those early discoverers of this land didn't recognize the gifts of the peoples who lived here. And we destroyed a lot of those ancient places. So it's a privilege and a gift to say yes in this way, to have had time with my parents, time with three of my four brothers, to have missed the two siblings who weren't there, my kids who were, it was just an incredible thing to share the laughter, to have my brothers choked up listening to my mom, and to have them recognize that grounding also. To share this time with my 25-year-old niece, who was my little roommate part of the time, who had the gift this year of, in May, visiting the motherland of Guyana, where her mother's family is from, and then Ireland this fall, her father's family, and to talk about those two combinings as well. But to feel my body's rhythms settle into the rhythms of the sea and the sky, the gift of that ancient land, and feel the sacredness in it. Go ahead. And so I'm going to leave you with a little bit of that Irish heritage. I've actually shared this poem before, but it is that deep piece of the song. And it is the blessing of deep peace of the running waves to you is credited in some places as having come from Saint Brigid of Kildare. But she's been around a lot longer than the Saint Brigid. She's also that deep, ancient, feminine wisdom in Ireland. But here you go. Deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the running wave to you, of water flowing, rising and falling, sometimes advancing, sometimes receding. May the stream of your life flow unimpeded. Deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you, which fans your face on a sultry day, the air which you breathe deeply, rhythmically, which imparts to you energy, consciousness, life. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you, who herself unmoving harbors the movements and facilitates the life of the 10,000 creatures while resting contented, stable, tranquil. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you, which stay invisible till darkness falls and discloses their pure and shining presence, beaming down in compassion on our turning world. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. Cead mil fáilte. Amen.